Hey everyone, I thought I'd bring up a topic that's been picking my brain for the last few days. It's not something I'd usually bring up because I feel that 90% of the target audience of this topic won't get it, nor will they agree if they do understand what I'm talking about. But let's get it out in the open before I get into details. Rihanna, the singer, is cashing in on being beaten. Now let me explain why. There's a song on her latest album called Birthday Cake, a thinly veiled reference to having sex. So her album, as far as I know, isn't doing that well. I don't think that many people like it, much less paid attention to it. So she decided it would be a good idea to collaborate with the man who abused her a couple years ago, Chris Brown. He is rapping on a remix for the single of this song. There are several things wrong with this. Let me attack them all separately so that I can space my thoughts out. First of all, Rihanna is indirectly giving her fans the idea that it's okay to go back to an abusive relationship. I mean, it happens once, it's not gonna happen again, right? And I'd say a good 70 to 80% of her fan base are impressionable teenage girls. But of course this whole situation goes under Rihanna's facade of, I'm a tough kick-ass chick, I know what I'm doing, I'm in charge of my life. So of course all of her fans trust her because they think she's a warrior. So here's the archetype of their hero being taken down a notch because she's been abused in public. Then she builds herself back up. She recovers from this. And then while she's back up on her plateau of success, she collaborates with the very person that brought her down. But now that she's back up here, her fans don't care about what happened before. Her fans don't care about what happened down here anymore, because she's back up here. Everyone's thinking, oh, this song is so great, she's making amends with Chris Brown, and she's trying to say that everything's okay. But no one's stopping to ask, hey, what's wrong with this girl? What's wrong with this situation? Why is this happening? Why are we paying for this? Why are we giving our money to someone who's cashing in on their own traumatic experience? To me, this is the equivalent of, let's say, Casey Anthony recording a single to raise money against child abuse. So excuse me for the socially distasteful comparison, but I'm trying to make a point that sticks with people. And this kind of behavior is accepted because people think they're celebrities, they'll work it out, they have the money, they have the resources to make it okay. Oh, we just love the media, we're just fans of pop culture, you know? We don't have to say anything against it. If this same thing was happening in real life, if Rihanna was a 40-year-old housewife in Virginia, for example, and her husband beat her, she divorced him, or she ran away because she was afraid of him, then she went back to him a couple years later, don't you think her friends or family would say, hey Rihanna, what are you doing? Did this not just happen in recent history? And are you potentially repeating it? Let me remind you, just so you know, I don't like Chris Brown either. I think he's ridiculous, I think he's an abuser, I think he's untalented, I think he's an idiot. And I think they're both incredibly ignorant people. Apparently Rihanna doesn't remember that this happened to her because she couldn't hear the past over the cash register. And her fans don't see this at all. Her fans see this as, she's strong, she's coming back, she's fighting the power, and she's saying, you know what, if I want to collaborate with my abuser, I can, because I'm that strong. I am not blaming Rihanna. I don't think anyone ever deserves to be blamed for being abused. Man, woman, child, or animal, like I said earlier. But in this case, she is adding fuel to the fire. She could have moved on, not collaborated with Chris Brown, and not attacked her own fans on Twitter. But she chose to do all three of those things. And she's not letting up her "I'ma do me" attitude. So it just annoys me that before stopping to think of cashing in on this tragedy, Rihanna just said, throw this song out there. I'm collaborating with the guy that beat me and ruined my life, so what? My fans will deal with it. My fans love me. They'll support me no matter what. And I think that's very irresponsible as an artist to do. If she had any dignity as a person, if she had any dignity as an artist, she would not be using her own trauma to make money. In essence, to make another comparison, this is like Patricia Hearst saying, I'm gonna make a single with Donald DeFreeze, just cause I feel like it, just cause we're great friends now, just cause we're cool. Patty and Donald, we're gonna make an album together. So, not to take this any further off topic, but I'm a fan of Grace Jones. Rihanna lists Grace Jones as one of her influences, and if I were Rihanna, I would be ashamed to compare myself to Grace Jones. Grace Jones, the person who made songs about slavery, who stood up for herself, who is a real, motivated, strong black woman, compared to Rihanna, who's bitching at her own fans on Twitter and saying that it's okay to stay in an abusive relationship. You are not Grace Jones, nor will you ever be Rihanna. One of Rihanna's fans that was concerned about this birthday cake situation went on Twitter, and she tweeted Rihanna, saying, I gotta admit, I lost a lot of respect for Rihanna. Making a song with the dude that beat your face off is not a good look. To which Rihanna replied, very respectfully and lovingly to her fan that was concerned for her, Neither is your Avi. Clap back. In case you weren't aware, Avi is short for avatar, aka a picture of your face on Twitter. So, a concerned fan wanted to let Rihanna know that she didn't like what was going on with the Chris Brown situation. And instead of getting back to her like a grown woman, Rihanna basically said, thanks for your concern, but you're ugly. This is the type of woman that your children are listening to. Someone who outright calls her fans ugly when they're trying to help her. I went on Tumblr to see if anyone else was angered by this the way I was, and instead I saw these replies. This is why I love Rihanna. You go, girl. Haha, I love her so much. So to wrap this video up, this is not an argument for Rihanna, or an argument for Chris Brown. This is an argument against both of them. In fact, as far as being famous goes, I think both of them are worthless. They are an insult to the people that have come before them. I'd much sooner compare them to little ghetto high school kids picking schoolyard fights, as opposed to people that should be winning Grammys. Oh, and before I go, this morning, Chris Brown was charged with stealing a woman's iPhone because she wanted to take a picture of him. So, as a message to the both of them, dear Rihanna, dear Chris, I'd say educate yourselves more to the point where you can't have a 20-year-old dissect your situation on YouTube. If I'm more intelligent than two people who have control over the world, who have an influence on our youth, if someone on YouTube, an unknown like me, knows this situation better than they do, then what right do they have to be speaking out to the public? I know abuse, I know people that have been abused, and I am not condoning it in any way, nor am I condoning Chris Brown or Rihanna. I think they're both ridiculous. I think their fans are ridiculous. I don't think anyone should be a fan of either of these people, these artists. And I think they both need help. I think they both need mental help.